So let's go ahead and take a look at how we cite sources. We've already discussed at great length how to format a great works cited page. However, that's just one little piece of the puzzle. Keep in mind there's two major reasons why we cite sources. The first is to avoid plagiarism. Anytime you utilize someone else's ideas or words, you have to give them credit, and if you don't, that is plagiarism. Whether or not you intended to do it or not, you've taken somebody else's work and you did not give them credit. Okay, and that can have severe consequences. So we want to avoid that. The second reason we cite sources is that it lends credibility to our own claims. Okay, so if we're on our very first year of college and we're writing a paper about why the U.S. needs to fund space research, people might not take us very seriously. But if we go ahead and find the thoughts and opinions of well-respected scientists and politicians, at that point, people might start believing that our argument actually has merit. And when we cite, the bottom rule is that you cite anytime you use someone else's ideas or words. Okay, it could be a quote, it could be summarizing, it could be paraphrasing. Whatever you do, unless it's very common knowledge that most people would agree upon, like the sky is blue, you don't need to go ahead and cite those. And there are three elements of citations, and we're going to take a look at how these are used. One is the attributive phrase. That's the who or what said, argued, researched, studied, whatever it is, the ideas that you're about to share. Then we have in-text citations. In-text citations sometimes they contain the author and the page number, other times they contain the page number. And these work together with our works cited page to help the reader find the information that we've utilized. And then we have the works cited page. So the works cited page is all the information that a reader needs about a source. Whereas the in-text citation, that just gives us a little tiny piece because we don't want to interrupt the whole flow of an essay. So the in-text citation works together with a works cited page to help the reader find our information. So remember that between the attributive phrase and the in-text citation, at least in MLA, APA is a little bit different, so you want to look at and be sure you understand your style guide. But in MLA, you need to give the author's last name and the page number. If you've given all this information in the attributive phrase, you don't need an in-text citation. Or if you've given all this information in the in-text citation, you don't necessarily need an attributive phrase. So keep that in mind. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at how in-text citation and attributive phrases and works cited pages all work together. So you'll see in this particular paper by Paige Ryder on how college writing differs from high school that she utilizes a quote. The quote reads, "The emotions and knowledge that the students already know well." Okay, because it's a quote, we automatically assume that it comes from somewhere else. And she gives us in the attributive phrase, in this case, the attributive phrase is Smith describes. Okay, and then we can see in the in-text citation that it came on page 123. So if you wanted to find this, it's on page 123. However, there are a bazillion Smiths. It's not like Zepp. There's not actually too many Zepps. So you might be able to find something that I wrote a little bit more easily. But there's not very many. I mean, there's a bazillion trillion Smiths in the world that have written something. So what you need to do is have a works cited page. So in this case, the reader would say, well, if I want to find this particular quote, I look at the works cited page and then they'll see, oh, it's by Harriet Smith and it's an article called Titles of Journal Articles Go in Quotes, and the journal is called Name of the Journal, and it gives the particular page numbers right there. So these two things work together to help the reader understand where a source came from. So let's look at one more example. Okay, also, same paper, Paige Ryder. In this case, it's also a quote. So it's, on the other hand, success in college means being ready to explore an idea, probe an issue, solve a problem, or make an argument that compels us to turn to outside help. So in this case, she doesn't use an attributive phrase, and that's a choice that you need to make. Sometimes using an attributive phrase automatically puts some authority behind what you're writing. If you're saying, according to scientists so and so, that bolsters support. But sometimes it actually gets in the way of what you're trying to say. If she had put between being ready to, and then she said according to Gabaldi, that would ruin her particular flow in this case. So she's chosen to put all the information in the in-text citation. And you'll notice that the in-text citation, we'll talk about how we punctuate these next, but the in-text citation Comes right into some nice parentheses, and it's by Gabaldi on page 2. Again, probably a lot less Gabaldis, but oftentimes people who are being cited have written lots and lots of different things. So Gabaldi might have written, 10, 12, 20, 30, 40 different, different articles. And so we need to know where this is coming from. So we go to the works cited page. So in this case, it's Gabaldi Joseph, so it's Joseph Gabaldi in the MLA Handbook for Writers of Research Papers, and they give us the information that we need to go ahead and find that information on our own. So remember, anytime you are incorporating a source into your own writing, consider having an attributive phrase, in-text citation, and you have to have that works cited page, and those three things work together to help your readers, the readers of your paper, whether they be instructors or other students, find what it is that they need to find. So hopefully that made more sense. We are at the end of our lesson. So if you need more information, go ahead and click here for much more information if you are still a little bit confused about those three aspects. And go ahead and jot down this keyword because you'll be inserting it into one of the quizzes on D2L. And I will see you next in class. Bye.